Okay, so we're continuing on here with our study of the book of Genesis. We are in chapter 5, and we're going to go ahead and pick it up from there.
Genesis 5. This is the written account of Adam's family line. When God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them, and he named them mankind when they were created. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died. When Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived a total of 912 years, and then he died. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenan. After he became the father of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enosh lived a total of 905 years, and then he died. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. After he became the father of Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Kenan lived a total of 910 years, and then he died. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. After he became the father of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Mahalalel lived a total of 895 years, and then he died. When Jared had lived 162 years, he became the father of Enoch. After he became the father of Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Jared lived a total of 962 years, and then he died. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. After he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked faithfully with God 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. After he became the father of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he had a son. He named him Noah, and said, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Lamech lived a total of 777 years, and then he died. After Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Genesis 6.
Interesting. So, chapter 5 here, it's a lineage from, literally the beginning of time, right? From Adam. It's Adam's family line. Let's see, it starts out here. When God created mankind, he created them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them. And he named them mankind when they were created. So that's just a little redundant from earlier chapters. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, his own image, and he named him Seth. Of course, that's after Cain and Abel. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died. One of the things that I noticed in this chapter in the early days of humanity is that we lived long lives. Wow, I mean, look at this. 930 years for Adam. His son Seth, 912 years. Interesting. And then Enosh lived 905 years before he died. And then Kenan lived 910 years, and then he died. And then Mahalalel lived 895 years, and then he died. And then Jared lived 962 years, and then he died. And then altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. This is where it gets interesting. Everybody else that said they lived this many years, they lived a total of this many years, and then they died. In Enoch's case, altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. Enoch walked faithfully with God, and then he was no more because God took him away. Okay, so there's something different going on here. I don't know what's going on with Enoch. There's something different about that guy. 365 years in, he's walking so faithfully with God that God just decides I'm going to take you home. You're not gonna stay here for 900 years. I'm going to take you now. And then back to the pattern here, right? So pattern recognition is something that I find very interesting. So now we're back on pattern here. Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. And then Lamech lived a total of 777 years. Now it gets interesting again. 777, right? That's like a perfect number. That's the number of, I don't know, is it referred to? I'm not the authority on this. Isn't it like a heavenly number or a higher number? Just like 666 is the number of man, is a lower number, is a number of man, versus maybe 777, I believe, is like an immortal number, a higher number. I don't know. There'd have to be some research into that. I think I've heard something to that effect, but don't quote me on that. I'm just a regular guy here. So, and then it gets interesting because after Lamech, we start to see here, interesting, we've reached Noah. After Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So Noah has 3 sons. So we finally, Noah's been introduced on the scene here in chapter 5.
When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart were only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you ought to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof an opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him.
Interesting. So what a chapter here, right? Chapter 6 here. Now we're getting going here. Let's see. So human beings begin to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them. Okay, that makes sense. The sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. The Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years." Interesting. So, my spirit will not contend with humans forever. Then the Lord said, "My spirit will not contend with humans forever." Sounds like God's getting frustrated, right? God's getting maybe a little sick and tired of what humanity is becoming. And so he says their days will be 120 years, for they are mortal. So we looked at in the last chapter, if you recall, we went through that lineage from Adam all the way to Noah, right? This person lived for 900 years. This one lived for 900 years. This one for 365. And then God brought him home. And then Noah was 500 years old before he had his 3 sons, right? So, now God's thinking to himself, well, I don't think so. I'm getting sick and tired of the way humans are behaving and the way that they're acting. So, ever since they ate the tree in the Garden of the Eden, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they're mortal. So now we're gonna limit their days to 120 years, no more than that. Interesting. So that's an interesting way that kind of things turn. And then the Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on earth. Wow, wickedness. Wickedness is akin to evil. And that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. Wow. Every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled, right? So we are God's creation, right? We are God's masterpiece. But here you see in Genesis chapter 6, the Lord God regretted. He had regret that he even made human beings on the earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. And so the Lord said, "I will wipe them from the face of the earth, the human race that I have created, and with them the animals." Oh, we love animals, right? "The birds and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them." Wow, so God's having, so everybody is so wicked and so evil all of the time, right? Every inclination of the thoughts of human heart were only evil all the time, to the point where God wanted to wipe humans from the face of the earth and all the animals and everything that moved along the ground, except for the fact that one thing here, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Interesting. So this is an account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among all the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Interesting, very interesting. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe when we go through the book of Job, I believe Job is also referred to in this way, right? A righteous man, blameless. Blameless is the one characteristic that stands out. I believe that Job is referred to also as a blameless, right? Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Kind of reminds you in the last chapter of, I believe it was Enoch, who lived 365 years, and he walked faithfully with God, and that's when God called him home. Noah had 3 sons. We saw that in the last chapter as well. When he was 500, he had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and it was full of violence. Interesting here. Now we've got an interesting parallel here today. I don't know, here in 2025, if the earth is more filled with violence now, or just we're more aware of it because of technology, because of 24/7 news media, internet, everything that's always on, always in our face, cell phones, technology. It's so visible now. So I don't know if it's just that it's so visible now, or that it's maybe more violent now, or as violent now, as wicked now, as evil now. But it says here that the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and it was full of violence. Violence is an interesting word. because you see a lot of violence in our society today here in the United States of America in 2025. God saw how corrupt the earth had become for all of the people on earth and corrupted their ways. And so God said to Noah, I'm going to put an end to all people. Now, here we go. Right? In the first couple chapters of Genesis, we talked about, God has the ability to punish. God knows how to punish. And now here we go. This is even one step beyond punishment, right? God says, I'm going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I'm surely going to destroy both them and the earth. Wow, them and the earth. Unbelievable. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood, make rooms in it, and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is interesting too. I don't really fully understand. I can't really fully comprehend how this communication, so to say, is happening. God communicating with Noah. Is it a spiritual thing? Is it this is something that God's putting on his heart? God's speaking to him. Sometimes you get these premonitions, right? They come to you through the Spirit. It's obviously not an audible voice, but you can get a strong sense of direction to do this or do that or whatever the case may be. The Spirit can lead you. But this is so specific, right? This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof and opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door on the side of the ark. Make a lower, middle, and upper deck. So very interesting. Very specific instructions. I think Noah's Ark. I think there's actually a recreation of this here. It's called Ark Encounter. Let me see here. Let's take a quick look. It's I believe in maybe Kentucky. Yeah, where they've actually recreated, right, Noah's Ark. Like you can go and visit, this place. It's called arkencounter.com. This is interesting. Maybe this is something I'll put on my, I'm not going to call it a bucket list, but my domestic travel destination list. I find this to be interesting. This is something I'd love to go see. But look at the size of this thing, and this is just recreated, I believe, literally from the Scripture, right? Like literally from the instructions that we're reading through right now. And for one man, no power tools, just basically to be able to build something like this is just unbelievable. This Noah must have been like, a rock star contractor, general contractor of his day. He was able to build things. He was probably the guy that, would literally, people would go to, probably in my imagination, I imagine, Noah's a guy that like people go to renovate their huts, their houses, their cabins or whatever. He's the go-to guy. He's the handyman in his town, right? Imagine who you got to be able to build something like this, the scale and the magnitude of this. Back in those times with whatever limited tools, just to get the wood, right? It's not like you can just run down to your local Home Depot and pick up planks of wood. This is just an enormous undertaking, kind of, I would say, a miracle in and of itself, that he was able to build something like this. So to me, it's a little bit fascinating to think about. And I love that, the way that the Scripture provokes these kind of thoughts and image, just kind of imagining what it would be like back then. And so God says, I'm going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. Wow. See, this is the side of God that you don't want to find yourself on God's list to be punished. You don't want to find yourself in front of God's wrath, right? This I would describe this, verse 17 here, chapter 6:17. I'm going to bring floodwaters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens. Every creature that has the breath of life in it, everything on earth will perish. He's just wiping the slate clean. And even in this moment, at this point, I wonder if he's just thinking like he's just clearing the deck, or like, I wonder, obviously at this point he has already decided, he's going to preserve Noah and his family. So I would say that he has that foresight already. So he's not, he's not just going to destroy everything, but almost everything. But I will establish my covenant with you, he says to Noah, and you will enter the ark, and you and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. So basically, we're starting fresh. We're gonna we're starting back. We're going back to square one, right? Not quite not quite early days, Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, but we're going back to square one. See, Noah's family. We're gonna start with your family, okay? And you are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, keep them alive with you. So he's preserving animals in this way. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. Interesting. So Noah's obedient. Noah's a craftsman. Noah's going to get it done.